I am the owner. I am the person running this. Thank you. But I am the person. And from that point, that's what really that's when it clicked and changed. It's like, you need to speak up. You need to say something. Don't let somebody just assume because of what they see that you are not the owner and you are not the person running this center. You are not the person involved in building this building. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start speaking up and let people know who I am.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Childcare channel, a space designed to inform, inspire, and innovate in the childcare space. My name is Jane Diaz and I am your host. Our guest today is an unstoppable childcare leader who has been serving families in the childcare space for more than 23 years. She is a woman who leads with her heart and who is focused on building the next generation of trailblazers through her unique STEM curriculum designed specifically for early childhood education. Her name is Aretha Kitson, and she is the co-founder and CEO of Kidz Inc. Academy of Early Academics, a childcare business which is now comprised of 6 childcare center locations in the Delaware area. Aretha is also a childcare investor with a strong entrepreneurial spirit from which we can all learn and be inspired. We at the Childcare channel are thrilled to have her as our guest, and we hope that, if you're watching, you can be inspired by her story and learn something of value that you can apply to your own childcare business. And now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Miss Aretha Kitson. Aretha, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
Oh, fantastic. So happy to have you here. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you since I met you at the Shift conference that our dear Hinge Brokers and Kathy Lincoln put together. Wasn't that an amazing event, by the way?
It was great. It was beautiful. And all the people that were there and the panelists and the speakers, it was so wonderful.
Yes. I'm so glad that you're here today because I was very impacted. You were one of the panelists and you had some really awesome things to share about, how childcare is changing, how you go about acquiring centers. So I do want to get to all of that. But first, I want our audience to really get to know Aretha a little bit and, what you're about, how you even got started, because I know that you didn't even have a background in childcare business when you first began. So tell us a little bit about that story.
Correct. My husband was active duty in the military and we got transferred to Delaware. And I actually started by just watching neighborhood children starting, out of my house. And then I decided, let's grow this. So I found a building that was a restaurant. It was like a buffet restaurant. We converted it into a childcare center. And then we grew, we maxed out to, whatever we were licensed for at the time. And then we just kept growing. We built our first center, our second center after that. And we moved the children from that center to this freestanding building. It was 10,000 square feet. And then we just kept growing and growing to the point where, almost 23 years later, we have 6 locations. We're licensed for, a total of 950 children. So, we're just really thankful that we were able to do this. And I truly can say, even through with COVID, that I truly love this business. I love what I do. I love the children, the parents, the staff, especially the staff, because, it's always tell people it's not what I do or what my husband does that bring parents or make them stay at our center. It's the people we hire. It's the staff. So I always have to say, thank you to them because without them, we couldn't do this.
Big shout out to the staff at Kidz Inc. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I think in any business, even beyond childcare, in any business, having the right people on the bus, as they say, it's really what makes or breaks it, right? And good leadership, which I can tell that you are. You must be a very good leader to be able to successfully grow in this way. So
I try, it's like, try to be better from what you did before. You try to learn from your mistakes and try to always get better as a leader.
Well, I would like to learn about what some of those mistakes are. But that's what it's about. That's what leadership is about. We don't come with a manual for leadership. This is the kind of stuff that you learn as you go. On that topic, tell me about, as a leader, what are some things, some mistakes maybe in the business as you were growing it that you made in the past that you learned from that maybe our audience can learn from as well if they're doing a childcare business?
Oh, I can say, you know what? Probably the first thing was I used to think that you just bark orders and like, just do it, and just tell somebody to do something without sitting down with them and talking to them and asking them, well, what do you think? Or what do you think we should do? Instead of always saying, okay, it's my way or the highway. Probably when I first started out, that's how I thought it should be. But as I grew, I realized it's more of a collaboration. You get everybody's feedback and we decide what we're going to do. Each week we have a Zoom meeting. So every Monday we have our Zoom meeting at 11 o'clock. So all the management, director, assistant directors, curriculum coordinator, administrative assistants, we all get on and we talk about different things, what's coming up, how we can solve something, and someone will throw something out. And I don't just say, okay, we'll just do it that way. I say, hey guys, how do you think we should handle this? Or I heard this great idea. Let me run it past all of you first. And, we'll come and we'll decide how we're going to do it. So, I went from the beginning of like, just do this. Here's what you're going to do to, let's meet every week and everybody gives feedback. Everybody gives input on how we're going to move forward. So, that's what I've definitely learned. You can't run by just barking orders. You have to run by everybody having input and talking about it.
That's really awesome because you're including the team and making them take some ownership in the decision-making process. Speaking of that, it sounds to me, based on your story, that there's an element of being led. Because I know that things happen kind of quickly, right? For you, we just started to just, kicked it off, but then it was kind of like a snowball effect of growth. Would you say that, did you feel like you were being led in a certain way throughout this process?
As far as being led, you mean as far as growth?
Yeah, somehow a higher energy sort of leading you where things just were flowing and flowing and flowing. Would you say that that's something that you experienced in the process?
I guess so. I guess I've always felt like I always wanted to grow. And there was something, I guess telling me like, you can continue to grow. You can do this. Just constantly wanting to make this bigger than just the little place at my house, having the kids in the basement, running something to, you can expand this and being a woman too, wanting to expand. Also, I think it helps being in different groups that I'm in and seeing all the different people who have expanded, and they motivate you. They motivate you to want to do more and motivate you to want to keep going and wanting to build something bigger and challenge yourself, because sometimes you think, you know what, you have that little negative voice in the back of your head. What are you doing? You can't do this. But then, you keep moving and you keep going, and you have to believe in yourself and just keep on.
Well, that's really wonderful. And you touched on something there that I think is super important just of any age, which is surrounding yourself with the right people. Right? If you have a group of influence, people of influence in your circle who are either at your level or higher, hopefully higher where you want to be, I could see how that would just motivate anybody to like, yes, I could do it. And I have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you definitely want to surround yourself with people who are surpassed you, that maybe have 20 or 30 centers, and just learning from them. They always say you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to be able to learn from other people. So I think that is definitely very important.
That's amazing. So how do you go about that? So how do you identify these people in similar industry as you? Are there places that you go to for this? How does that work? How do you expand that circle?
Just from being even like in private Facebook groups of childcare owners, and, like someone reaching out and like, hey, I'm starting a group, we're going to have a cohort group and we're going to meet once a week. And like, yeah, I'll join because I always can learn from people who have multiple locations. And then, there's always other groups like EO, there's local EO chapters that you can join. That'll be something that's not just childcare. It'll be all other industries. However, you can always learn from, somebody that has 6 different, plumbing companies around different states. You can always learn something. I always believe you can always learn something from somebody, no matter what it is.
I agree with you. Are there people outside perhaps of, let's say the people you meet in person or in a Facebook group that also run childcare centers? Are there other types of influencers that you have found to be useful or insightful with anything they've shared that you could apply to your business?
I guess not outside of childcare groups. I mean, just, different women's entrepreneurial groups that I've joined, listening, and also just always trying to take, I always try to make sure I'm always learning and trying to take different classes and seminars and, Scale Up. Have you ever the book Scale Up?
Oh, no, I have not. Who's that by?
Oh, God, is it Verniche?
Okay.
I think is the name. Yeah, Scaling Up.
Scale Up.
Yeah, Scale Up. But they'll have different trainings that you can, take. And it's always about growing your company.
Okay.
So just doing, taking those different type of seminars and trainings that'll help, help expand your business and help you put certain things in place to make sure your business is moving in the right direction.
I love it. That's really awesome. So let me ask you something. You mentioned earlier that when you were working on the business and growing it as a woman, it was very gratifying. We know that childcare as an industry, it's, I would say, more than 70% women. Being a woman, a successful woman who has multiple locations now and probably still growing, what are some things that you could share with other women to inspire them, to motivate them? Maybe some tips that you could share as a woman.
Oh gosh, as a woman, man, sometimes you go to meet people, let's say like a fire marshal or something, and they automatically assume that you're not the person that owns the business. Yes, but being a little bit more assertive. I think as women, we've always been taught to be, you never want to hurt anybody's feelings. You always want to be, sweet and never speak up or sometimes, but as an entrepreneur, you have to learn to be a little bit more assertive. And I guess I could say, because I was one of those people who always wanted to make everybody happy. I was a cheerleader in high school and you always want people to be so, to be happy and everybody to like you. Well, sometimes you have to speak up and to get things done, especially when you're meeting with fire marshals or contractors. You can't always just, let things go and just don't, you have to. That's one thing I've learned. It took a long time, probably like 15 years to finally do that, but to finally learn to just speak up and deal with all these different people and be a little bit more assertive.
So that's really interesting that you said it took a long time, 15 years. So, I mean, obviously this is something that when we make any changes, we kind of learn by experiencing, right? And so it takes whatever amount of time it takes. Is there anything in that process did you have like an aha moment at any time during that time that you were learning to be more assertive? Is there anything that you could remember and share that, this helped me be more assertive? This thing I did, this belief that I changed. Is there anything like that for you?
I remember when we were building our Smyrna location, it was our 5th location. And we were going through the last little test to get our certificate of occupancy. And the fire marshal came out and I was standing there and he goes, "Man, this is the most beautiful childcare center I've ever seen." I was like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "We just walked through and everything." He goes, "You must be doing an awesome job for them to allow you to run this." And at the time, I think I was in shock and I just stood there and I didn't say something. And then after that, from that point on, I said, you know what? Why didn't I speak up? I should have spoke up then, but from now on, I will speak up and say, I am the owner. I am the person running this, thank you. But I am the person. And from that point, that's what really that's when it clicked and changed. It's like, you need to speak up. You need to say something. Don't let somebody just assume because of what they see that you are not the owner and you are not the person running this center. You are not the person involved in building this building. So that's what clicked for me. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start speaking up and let people know who I am. Because I always ever used to show my picture. Like my picture was never on the website. My picture was never anywhere. And then that's when everything changed. And like now I'm like, oh, let me do a video for our center and talk about COVID, or let me put my picture on the website. So that's when things kind of changed. Like, you know what? I should be proud. Yeah, he's right. This is a beautiful building. And I should be proud of what I built.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I can guarantee somebody is going to feel inspired by this. I am inspired by this. So, okay, let's talk about your centers, because you do a lot of innovative things in your centers from what I could see, from the safety protocols of the space itself to the actual curriculum that you've created for the children. So tell me a little bit about what an experience of Kidz Inc. is like.
Yeah, from the time we decided we were going to do, open centers, my focus has always been education. That's the number one thing. So we, from the very beginning, for our preschool, our 3s and 4s, we chose core knowledge, and it is excellent because their focus is on education, but also on making sure of whether the child is coming from the poorest of the poorest area or the richest of the richest area, is to give every child the best education. So that way they are ready for kindergarten. And when parents leave our center, I can tell you 99% of them, when they fill out the withdrawal and we ask them on there, do you feel that your child is ready for kindergarten? They all say yes. So that is the number one thing. And then, as time has changed, we've decided to add a little bit more as far as like STEM. I'm really focused on that. So we've decided to really be innovative and try to incorporate STEM labs. Like we used to have little computer labs where I could just get on the computer. But now we've added different things like light tables, focus on building bridges, the engineering part of it. Just really focusing on, the science and technology, the math, just bringing it all together because, you see it's 2021 and we see where we're going. And STEM, I think, is something that we should all focus on, not just for boys, but also for girls as well. So that's what we're trying to start really focusing on at our centers. And we're trying to make our STEM labs really cool. Like we brought in a street artist that does graffiti, and he made these beautiful murals that, say STEM, and it's really nice. So we've completed it at 2 locations, and we're going to do it at 2 more. But just to make the STEM lab really interesting for the children and just really creative. But that's what I try to do. And to also try to, set ourselves apart from other centers, because, everybody serves like, I don't know, you were at shift. And as Thad said, everybody, you can say you serve meals, you're open till 6, but what are you doing to be innovative? What are you doing to make yourself different? And I feel that is definitely one thing that we are doing to be innovative.
I love it. If I had children, I would definitely want them to go to one of your centers. And, I really like that you focus on really preparing the child education wise. But of course, there's soft skills that they learn as well. Let me ask you something, because a lot is changing in the world as far as what children are exposed to with technology, with everything. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions on that. The first one is, what, out of all the skills that children learn, right, what do you believe is the most important skill that a child in these modern times needs to learn?
Oh, I think it's compassion, because I think children are really stressed right now with COVID. And I think children pick up vibes off their parents, off of the teacher, if a teacher's feeling stressed. So I think it's just teaching children to be compassionate, care about other people. I think we live in a world where everybody gets upset really fast, and sometimes kids, they they mimic what they hear, and you'll see a little kid in housekeeping on the telephone pretending like they're saying certain things to somebody and screaming at somebody, and that's because what they've heard at home or what they've been exposed to. So I think it's very important right now for us to teach children to be compassionate, to be calm, to share. Of course, that's a skill that we've always tried to teach them, but I think that's really important more so than now, and to also understand that everybody's different, and we should still care and love them, no matter how they look or what's going on with them or what ability they have. I think teaching children compassion is very important.
I love that. Compassion is something that even myself, I had to learn, especially self-compassion as a perfectionist, as an adult, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So thank you for that. And then the second part to that question is technology, right? We need technology. We live in a world of technology. I mean, thanks to technology, you and I are able to have this interview here virtually. I love technology. Now, when it comes to small children, I think in my experience, a lot of children are a little overly exposed to technology, particularly iPads and phones. And, it ends up acting as a pacifier of sorts in a lot of situations where maybe parents are busy, and I get it, life can get busy. And then the child, gets hooked. Because obviously, as we know, the phones, the tablets, all of that is designed to, spike up our addiction receptors. So tell me a little bit of how you manage that with your children, and are you doing anything at all to kind of balance out a little bit?
We do. Let's say, like, even in our STEM labs, like if they go there once or twice a week, we limit how long they are on the tablets. We try to encourage them to go to the science area, and then we talk to them maybe about the roots of the plants or this or that. So we don't want it to be just, the children just trying to use the tablets. We want them to focus on, the other aspects of the room, the light tables, what they can build, or how a bridge is built, or, just different things like that. Because we do see the children, they'll walk in on their parents' phone on YouTube, watching some cartoon or something like that. So, and when they do use our tablets, we make sure it's a learning activity. It's something where they can learn or experience. But like I said, we definitely limit that part of it, because we do realize that they are getting a lot of that at home. We even see now 2-year-olds walking in with tablets in their hand. And we're like, oh my gosh. And, even for our STEM lab, they have to at least be 3 to go in there. But like I said, we'll see 2-year-olds coming in, and they know how to work the tablet, how to go to the next video, or how to go here or there. And we're like, oh my gosh. But that's how they've been brought up. Like you said, it's a little bit too much overstimulating. So we definitely try to balance it.
Let me ask you something. Do you extend any of that to the parents themselves? Is there any sort of tool that you share with them to, make them more aware, more mindful of how the children use technology back at home when you're not around them?
Well, we do. I know we normally post different articles on our Facebook page, and I know we've done several about, technology and how to manage that and how to not overstimulate your child, just to try to see if they, some information to help them read and be more aware of all of that. And some parents will comment and say certain things and say, yeah, I do try to make sure I don't, allow them, but, hopefully they all read it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it is having some form of impact, because if it's there, somebody's bound to come across it and be impacted by it. You're planting seeds anyway, right? So that's what we want. So with regards to the parents themselves, I know that because of the pandemic, a lot of families are now working mostly from home. I think they shared a statistic in the conference that we were a part of that it was estimated that about 30% of the workforce was going to remain somewhat virtual. Have you seen any sort of impact in that regard in terms of your center enrollment or the way that you have to offer education now, whether it's hybrid, or what's been your experience with that?
We are definitely at all 6 locations. We're not at the enrollment we were pre-pandemic. So we are still seeing some parents are working from home. We're seeing a few more that maybe are working from home or doing like the hybrid where maybe like they're working from home 3 days a week, going into work 2 days a week. But even the ones who are doing something like that, they generally are still bringing their child 5 days a week, I guess, so they can get other things done at home.
Yeah.
But we're still not at where we were before. We're slowly moving back to that. I have seen a shift right when school started. So right around September, we're starting to see an uptick more and more of parents trying to enroll. The issue is, to be honest, I think we would be back to where we were pre-pandemic if we had the staff that we needed. So,
okay.
Yeah, so that's been our biggest challenge. If we had more staff, we probably would be full.
So what do you think is now contributing to the shortage of staff?
Number one, I can say that what I'm hearing is I'm scared. We still have a lot of people that are scared, or they're scared that the children may be carriers of COVID. So, I'm going to switch professions. Somebody that's maybe have worked for us for 6 years and decided to leave childcare to go in something else where they have less contact with the group of children. So that's what we're seeing. And
that's interesting.
The second thing is because I think everybody's looking, for employees, they're offering a much higher wage than what childcare can offer. So people are going to Amazon, who's offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus here. So that makes it very competitive as a childcare owner to offer something.
Wow. Yeah, that is a challenge indeed. Are you strategizing about how to go about it? Are you making any changes in order to perhaps attract staff in a different way than before?
We are. So we're offering bonuses, of course, not that high, but we've seen some traction with the bonuses. We've been offering between 800 and 1,000 for sign-on bonuses. What we normally would look for someone 7 to 4 or 9 to 6. Now we're saying, okay, what hours are you looking for? Because now people are wanting more flexible hours. So they're saying maybe I want to work 9 to 2. It's not the ideal schedule we would look for, but you know what? Okay. So we're going to work on, hiring you and see where we can fill in the gaps. So we're offering more flexible schedules. For somebody, we're offering where somebody maybe only can work 3 days a week, and we would normally want to only look for someone 5 days a week. So we're just being so much more flexible to bring them on. We've also started something recently where we hired subs. So we hired a sub at $20 an hour, which we've never paid $20. However, let's say we're hiring a couple of subs for our southern centers. There's 3 centers that are in southern Delaware and 3 that are in northern. So we're hiring a couple of subs that will cover all 3 centers, and then subs that will cover the other 3 centers. So they come in when we're shorthanded and work whenever they want to work, but at $20 an hour. And that has made a big impact too, because our staff were getting burnt out. We're having to work overtime because we were shorthanded. Mm-hmm. So now we have these people to come in and fill in whenever we're shorthanded. And I think that has helped our staff that have been there through the pandemic, because now they're not having to work these long hours.
Okay, that's innovative. That's very nice. Okay, I do see a shift in having more need for subs, like you just said here. Yeah, it's definitely changing. And now we're even hearing about potentially childcare being subsidized by the government. So tell me, I know there's some controversy around this topic, especially for private owners. Tell me, how do you see this? I know we don't have anything set in stone yet, but it's been said that, with the stimulus, maybe families that would be expected to pay 7% of their income or something along those lines. So tell me how you see that impacting your business.
Well, I have to say about Delaware has been really great in supporting childcare. They've been giving us a lot of money. Most of it, as long as we use it for payroll, to cover payroll. And that's what we've been doing, is using it to help cover our payroll. So that has been made a great impact here. But I'm hoping, because from what I've been talking with a lot of my people my friends who are in different groups with me who are in different states, is that we're seeing that each state is receiving a lot of federal money and they are giving it to childcare owners. And we're hoping that will continue, but it is as long as you use it for your payroll, which that's what we're trying to do. It helps subsidize some of it. It doesn't cover all of it, but it does help for us to be more competitive against other centers. I hope it continues, to be honest. I think everybody really, this is the time you join your local NACI group and really speak out. Call your governor, call your local, your local senators, everybody, and talk with them to make sure that they're not going to just give the money to the public schools, because we really need it. Because if you only give it to public schools and try to remove the 3 and 4-year-olds, then infants, 1-year-olds and 2-year-olds rates are going to be about $500 a week. They're going to be unattainable for parents, because we have to make up the difference somewhere. So you definitely have to get involved. So that way they can keep on subsidizing. And I feel if they keep on doing it and keep on giving us money, we can give our teachers a much higher wage and be more competitive with, Amazon and other companies. So that way we can keep the staff there, because the most important thing is to keep a stable staff, not just for us, but for the children. Children and families do not want to see the teachers keep coming and going. If we can give the teachers more money to keep them at the center, then that will make a huge impact on that child and that family.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think this would be very helpful for anybody listening in. I do agree that continuity for children, structure, routine is really essential. And I hope that the legislators who are, making all of this happen, take that into consideration as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So Aretha, we're nearing the end here of our interview. You have shared so many things, but before we start wrapping up, I wanted to share with the audience something that you mentioned to me before we started, which is part of your marketing efforts that is working out really well for parents. So the contest that you're doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we are, because it's close to Halloween. We call it our Kidz Inc. Fall Festival. And we're having a contest where the parents dress their little one up. They can even dress along with their child. And they send us a picture. We post it on our Facebook page. And whoever gets the most likes, they get a free week of childcare. And we're also doing it with the pumpkin carving contest. But it is a great way to get your parents interacting with your Facebook page. Also to bring other families on who may not even attend to your page, because they want everybody to like their pictures. They can get a free week of childcare. But it's a great way to get the community involved, and the parents love it. They love it. They love everybody seeing all their child, posted, and everybody, saying how adorable, how cute they are. And also the pumpkin carving contest. So it's just a great way to get everybody involved. And of course, they get a free week of childcare. And we're doing the first place winner gets the free week of childcare. Second place, a $100 gift card. And I think the third place, a $50 gift card, or something like that. But, it's always do something that's, that involves your families, because you want them to be included. You always want them to be included as much as possible. You want to include the families and make them feel like they're a part of something. So I think that's a little important.
I absolutely love that. So you listening right now, if you have a childcare center, Aretha has just shared some amazing nuggets of ideas and wisdom to be able to engage your families. And, we have Halloween coming up, but if you're listening to this after Halloween, it could work for any holiday. We have Christmas, we have a bunch of holidays throughout the year. So these tips that she has just shared with us are going to be effective for that as well. Okay, Aretha. So we are about to play a game that we call 3 in a Beat. And this is and this is how we like to close our interview here on the Childcare channel. But before we get into that, I would like you to share with people where they can find you.
Okay. You can find me on LinkedIn, Aretha Kitson. That's probably be the best place. I think I'm more interactive on there than Facebook.
Okay, very good. And if somebody wants to go to your website to find out about your programs.
Yeah, it's kidsearlylearning.com.
Great. And that's Kidz with a Z, everybody. Well, we'll put it here in the comments as well. Okay, wonderful. So are you ready to play this game? Three in a beat.
Sure. Okay. Oh my God.
It's actually very simple. It's very fun. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And for each question, you're going to answer with either one word or one sentence at the most. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay. All right. So first question. When you think of successful, who do you think about?
Gosh, I think of probably Oprah Winfrey.
I love Oprah. All right, awesome. Next question. Name an interesting object in your home or your office.
Oh my gosh. Look at me looking around my office.
I love it.
The globe. A world globe. We can just spin it around and look at the world.
Awesome. All right. And last question. What is something you think is worth giving up?
Something worth giving up. Sugar.
That's a good one. All right. Well, you did great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Aretha, you have been such a joy to speak to. Thank you so much. You're really one of those high energy vibrational people. I felt it when I saw you in person. I'm so glad that we got to connect afterwards here now and to share with the audience. So really, thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. And if you like this, please share with all of your friends, with your networks, like and subscribe to the channel, because just like we had this amazing conversation today with Aretha, we bring on other leaders like her on the channel, which hopefully will bring you some value into your own business or even personal life. Until the next time.